Today we're making Victorian Christmas DIYs. Keep watching. I'm Brandy and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome and welcome back. The first project will be a Mealwork Hanger. I'm going to use some chalkboard paint in black, some nickel satin finish nickel Rust-Oleum spray paint, a chippy brush, a silver ribbon, and one of them is blue and I'm going to switch it to a velvet ribbon, and then this one is beautiful leaves. It's like leaves on a vine. Then this sparkly ribbon that is silver. 3 different sizes. Here's the millwork that I got at the thrift store. Beautiful piece, got a little damage, but that's not going to be a problem for this project. You know, these go underneath the light fixtures. So I'm going to take this outside and spray it after, of course, I have wiped it and got it nice and clean. Once it is covered with 2 coats of that nickel paint, look how beautiful this is. So pretty. I'm going to bring it inside and I'm going to start distressing this. The idea is to take this from looking like a resin or plastic piece, or possibly plaster if that's what they were going for, and to make this more of a metal looking piece. So I am going to do that by using my black. Now I've dipped it into the black and tapped most of it off, so this is an actual dry brushing technique. I'm not just like smearing it all over. This is actually how you dry brush. So I'm going to go back and forth and up and down over all the beautiful detailed pieces so that it will get that darker color down in all of those high spots and give us some shadowing and just really make this look more of a metal piece. I work with a little bit at a time, and then I build up as I go if I choose to do it that way. If you've been here a while, you already know I start off with a light hand and then I just layer that up until I get the look that I like. It's a lot harder to take it off once you put too much on. So I'm going to speed it up, but I don't want to take it out because I want you to see how much time it actually takes to do this if you do it correctly. It is sped up, like I said, but I'm just taking manageable small sections here and just working my way around. Now you can see the difference already. The lower right section is not distressed and the rest of it is, and you see the difference? Really takes that shine down a bit and makes this more of a metal looking piece or an iron looking piece, and I love the look of this. I am so glad. I have had this in my stash for a while and I'm trying to work through my thrifted pieces, and what better time than Christmas to do this. Alright, so once I get the outside pretty much like I like it, I want to make this look even more kind of recessed. So I'm going in that inner curve there in that flat piece and then dragging that paint back upward over the edges, and it just makes it look like it is actually thicker than it is. Ugh, gorgeousness. I absolutely love this, and when I go back to the thrift store, it's been a few months, but when I go back, I'm definitely going to be picking up every one of these I see, because I could just see this for every season hanging on a door. Just beautiful. Or maybe even above a fireplace would be pretty. I don't know, where would you put yours? This is a stunner, y'all. I love this. I love paint. I love it so much. Alright, so I switched from the other ribbon that I had to this one because I thought the velvet would just be prettier, and I like the look of it for Victorian pieces. So I am going to layer up my ribbons rather than using 3 individual separate pieces. And I have done this before. We're going to make one beautifully embellished ribbon out of 3 different pieces. And this is how we will do it. The widest ribbon will be on the bottom, then our next ribbon, and then we will put down the last thinnest trim or ribbon piece, whatever you want to call that, with the leaves on it. It's beautiful. I did not measure this. I just kind of eyeballed it. It's probably 12-14 inches. So now the pretty side of the ribbon is upward, and I'm just going to take a little stream of glue and go right down the middle of the thickest ribbon, so the bottom ribbon, and I will try to center this one on top, press it down, and then work in small sections, because if you get it crooked, You'll probably tear your ribbon when you try to pull them apart. So just take your time with this. And if you need to use a rubber spatula or something, use that. Or you definitely could be working with your cool temperature rather than the hot glue. And then I'll widen it up a little bit on the end so that the end stays nice and flat. And already look at the difference. That looks like a beautiful, beautiful, expensive ribbon. I want to make this look a little more aged. This silver is a bit too bright for me, so why not distress the ribbon, right? This is like a raised textured ribbon. It's not sparkly. Well, it is sparkly, but it doesn't have glitter on it, is what I'm saying. It's a strange woven texture. But I'm going to go over it just with the black, and I'm just going to use a smaller brush this time because I'm working in a smaller section and I don't want to get it on my blue. So I'm just tapping it in, kind of smearing it around on top of that ribbon. And you can see the difference from the top to the bottom as I work along here. Again, in small sections so that I can duplicate anything that I'm doing. So this looks like it was intended to be this way. I'll use lighter and then I'll go a little bit darker as I go, building up just like we did on the millwork piece. Now I'm going to glue this one down, and since it's so thin on the vine, I'm just going to take some little sections of where the leaves are and just put a tiny dot of glue underneath, and I just adjust it as I go. The tip of this little glue gun is so narrow and so thin, it works great for these types of projects. And this Sure Bonder that I have gotten, this last one I've gotten has been really good. I'm happy with this one. Okay, same process as before. Tapping in, tapping off, and I'm going to go over that silver a little bit as well. I don't mind if it's a little bit shinier than the one that is underneath it because it's on the top and I don't want it to blend completely in. I want to be able to see it. So now it's got that aged look that I really like. Not a perfect match, but that's not what I'm going for here. So now you can see there's about 12 inches in the front, 12 inches in the back. So I guess that's a 24-inch piece of ribbon. Okay, so this is just a curtain ring. I am going to unscrew the hook part of it, and we're going to use it for the top. I'll take some of this brushed silver, and then I'm just going to kind of give this a light brushing over this ring. I don't have a smaller chippy brush, so I'm just using a regular brush here to do this. Get it all on there. I'm going to get it on the front and the back and on the inside of the ring as well. And I just do one coat and then I will let that dry. Very easy to do. You can still see the black under, so it gives it that nice aged look that's on the millwork. Once it is dry, we are ready to use it. So I'm just going to fold the back piece over the top piece. Doesn't matter, you can do the top over the back, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to add a line of glue and then just overlap about an inch, maybe anywhere from a half an inch to an inch on there. Press it down so it is glued down flat. And then once it's cooled, I'll turn it to the back so that you don't see where we connected it. And it's sitting behind the millwork and over that crack that was in there. Then I just decided, you know what, I've got this one little tiny piece of ribbon left. This came off of that roll from Dollar Tree, this blue velvet did. And I thought, okay, I'll just use this and we'll put one little bow right down here. Certainly skip this part if you don't like bows, but I think it gave it a little something extra, especially for the holidays. So, you know, Victorians did that anyway. They used every bit of what they had to make their homes beautiful. They used what they had. And they had a lot in those days, didn't they? They really did. This velvet is such a rich and beautiful look. I just love it with Victorian decor. And vintage decor in general. It's just very pretty. Very luxe looking. It's just such a simple little bow. We're not even going to have tails on it. And just fluff those out because they are wired. They'll stay. Then I can trim off what we don't need. And then add a little hot glue. to put this right here. And look at how beautiful this is. You can hang this off of a wreath hanger on your door. You can put it above your fireplace. You can hang it off of a doorknob if you wanted to. I mean, you know, if you just really wanted. Come and see my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's free to subscribe. I'll see you in the comments. The next project is our butterfly paper ornament. I've got a little wooden disc here and a beautiful little postcard with Santa. And then I found these thrifting. These are just some little doilies and they're very vintagey looking to me. Here's the information, just in case you have something simpler or similar. Not simpler, good grief. Although, speaking of simple, you could use white doilies for this if you wanted to, or if you had gold doilies that are solid color, or, you know, whatever you wanted to do. I just loved the idea of having these beautiful, rich colors in a butterfly, right? And I started off to do this just as a round, but y'all, something beautiful happened, right? Just like butterflies emerge from a cocoon. Watch how this thing turns out. I cannot even believe it. So I'm just going to fold these. You remember when we were in school and we were young and we folded these little fans all the times with our paper? All the time, because we didn't have air conditioning in our classrooms, did we? No. Kids today, they have it all. We didn't have that. We had windows and hot air blowing in, right? If you were lucky to sit by a window. If you were lucky. Okay, so I'm just pleating this. I'm folding it over on itself back and forth, trying to get my lines fairly the same size. Now, this is two doilies now. I have stacked these together. These are two together. I didn't move them. They came out of the pack like that, and I left them that way. This way, we'll get the same size when we open them up. Okay? Now, we can kind of open the little pleat here. You see how it looks? And we can pull those two layers apart. When you do it this way, you get exactly the same size and the same folds, so it is equal when you put these two together. I am going to use my hands to grab it in the middle, just like this. I'm going to clamp it until I can get my hole punch out. There's my little hole punch. And a little bit of string. You can use any kind of string or cord you want. You won't really be able to see it. Now, when I fold it in half, that gives me an idea of where center is, so I can poke a hole on here. And I actually did not get this exactly centered. This is another one of those things where I looked up and did something wrong that turned out right. So I'm going to feed this right through where I made the hole. And I'm going to tie this in a double knot. Don't tie it too tight or you will tear your paper. And we'll trim off what we don't need now. And by the way, you see the red on my fingers? I don't have sores or cuts on my fingers except for, you know, where you see when I have a Band-Aid on. That is actually red paint. That's spray paint. Later on in the video, you're going to see some things that I'm going to be spray painting. So that's what that is. Nobody be alarmed. Okay, so when I start to pull this apart, I realize because I didn't use a square, it's not going to be a circle. But look what happens. Oh my goodness, it's a butterfly. You can't imagine how surprised I was when that happened. All right, so I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue, but you use whatever type of adhesive you want to use here. The hot glue is going to grab it tightly, but you got to be super careful not to burn your fingers. Really protect your hands. I was moving too fast this day to actually follow my own rules, y'all. But I was so excited to get this video out for y'all because the ones I did last year were so well received. I thought, yeah, we're going to do this, definitely do this again. And I love the Victorian decor. Oh, y'all look at this butterfly. She's a beaut. And then I'm going to extend the length of it a little bit by doing the top just a tad and the bottom just a tad. Just where the fold ends. Look at that. So now I'm going to cut out a section to make a little ornament to go right in the middle. And I'm going to use a pen just to mark around, and then I will go right in the inside so you don't see my pen marks and make a circle. Sharp scissors are important. I have used these poor things so much, I need to sharpen them. How do you sharpen your scissors? What do y'all do to sharpen yours? Do you use the tinfoil trick or the sandpaper trick, or do you actually have like a little tool that you sharpen with? I would love to know because it would help me a lot. All right, so I'm going to go around and around and around and around here. Try not to burn my hands. Just tiny bit of glue to put this down. If you've got the time to use glue or Mod Podge, you can certainly do that. And then just to get my circle nice and smooth, I want to set that scissor right on the edge of the wood and cut around it. This will give me the perfect smoothness that I'm looking for. You could always sand this if you wanted to. If you don't have small scissors, go ahead and sand it. I do this a lot. I'm going to grab Mod Podge and some of this Reflections, I think it says Midnight or Twilight glitter. It's a very fine black metallic, and I thought it looked so pretty with the colors on the butterfly. So we're going to trim this out with that. I'm going to grab that Mod Podge, go all around here, and let it even overlap onto the picture just a little bit. And that way it'll kind of be framed out a little. But remember, wherever you put the glue is where the glitter is going to stay. So just try to clean it up. I made a little smear in one area that I try to fix, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's still there, but I'm probably the only person in the world who would notice it. You know how we are about our own crafts. We critique ourselves pretty roughly sometimes. All right, so I'm going to tap it off. I'll save the rest. Now you can always put that back in the jar. Look how beautiful that black glitter is. It's so fine and pretty. It's going to look so nice on that butterfly. So now this is just a dry brush, and I'm going to use it just to kind of clean up a little bit to get all that extra glitter off there and make it go out to these sides. You see me trying to clean it up. Whee, butterfly. Okay, so we're going to take this piece of wire, and I just get these wires on a paddle. I have silver, I have green, I have a matte green. You know, we use these with floral arrangements and for all kinds of things actually, but they're great to make your own hooks for ornaments too. So we're going to make our own hook, but we're also going to use this wire to add a little stability to our butterfly. I'm going to feed it through underneath that little piece of twine that we used to put it together. I'm going to feed it down one of the bottom wings and then just tape it on. Then I'll tape it on the top little section here too, so everything stays in place. If you put it right at the top, the weight of Santa is going to pull that forward. So in order to keep from doing that, we need to have a wire where we can flex it a little bit so that it will stand out straight when you put it on your tree. Because this is going to be a beautiful ornament for a tree. What a lovely, just statement ornament. Y'all, it's so pretty. You could add glitter on this too as well if you wanted to, but I wanted it just here on Santa. I'm going to add some hot glue. Set him right in the middle of the butterfly. Y'all look at that. Would y'all just look at that? Obsessed is not even, that's not even the best word to use for it. I don't even know what you would call it. It's so pretty, and I did surprise myself. Look at him flying. Look at my little butterfly flying. I was even playing with it. Look at here. Here she goes, and there it goes, flying off to Christmas. The next project is going to be a candle trio. These are bottle stickers that came from Temu in a pack. I have several more of these left. Not a sponsored video, by the way. I just love these. I love them very much. They're very vintagey to me. These are 3 Dollar Tree candles. You can use any color you like. I've got some ribbons that match what's going on in our pictures. I also have some old ribbons. Look at this beauty. I'll be sad when this is gone. I'm going to use this again at Valentine's. So the candles are now clean. They have been scraped clean of their tags, and I've used glass cleaner on them so that everything will adhere nicely. The dark side that I was showing you is where the candle looks kind of yuck, where it's stuck to the side. That's going to be the back. I don't want that to show at all. So that I'm just going to pick wherever I want to put this on my candle. I need to have enough space where it's close enough up that I can kind of frame this out or use some ribbon to make it pretty. I'll put it in the middle first and then drop the sides down so I've got no bubbles, and these adhere very well. There's no bubbles, there's no issues at all. Same thing here. I'm going to flip it around with that darker sections to the back so I can put the pretty side to the front, and I will peel this one off and do the same thing. If you want to measure, you can measure first and make you some lines so that it's perfect, but if you get it a little crooked, you can fix that when you frame it with your ribbons. Here's the boot. This may be my favorite one. So pretty. I don't know, I like them all though. Which one of these three do you think is the prettiest print? I really don't know. So I'm going to use some of this beautiful ribbon to just trim the top and bottom of this one because I want to show you different ways. I want to put the sections that are cut in the back. I don't want to see that, so they're in the back. I kind of get out of the frame. You know how I do. I get all excited and I'm not paying attention. Look how pretty that is. Then I'll take the bottom one and I'll flip it over so it looks like the red's on the bottom and the little gold lacy part is on the top. So I'm going to put some glue here. Press it down with a stick or a spatula, or, you know, if it's cool temp glue, your finger, whatever. Just protect yourself. Clean up any mess. And look how pretty this looks from a Dollar Tree candle. If you don't have these type of stickers, y'all could use window clings. Did you know that? Dollar Tree has lots of pretty window clings. I don't know that they have Victorian, but if you don't like Victorian style and you watch my videos anyway, you could always do this with any type of sticker you have. So this beautiful green velvet, I'm going to cut this. This came from Hobby Lobby. I got this 50% off way early in the season. It was probably Thanksgiving or Halloween when I found it. I'm going to go all the way to the outside where it is just barely overlapping the outside to really extend this picture around the candle. Making little swirlies because I don't want a straight line to show through my velvet. This is very good ribbon, very good quality. It doesn't fray at all whenever I cut it, which is marvelous. No extra work to have to do. And then I'll just frame this. I put my sides on first and then my top, and then we'll do the bottom. You can do it in whatever order you like, you know. You don't have to do it just like me. Make it your own, right? Always make it your own. That's what it's all about. And try to find your prices at a good point. Go to clearance sales after holidays. Look at the clearance section in stores. Try places that are known to have inexpensive items like Dollar Tree, you know, like Temu, things like that to help you out. Okay, so now I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to go down the sides with a little bit of Mod Podge and some of this beautiful lacy gold trim. Have to take my time with this one because it will slide around pretty easily. But you could always use a thicker Mod Podge if you would like. I didn't want to use anything too bulky on this project. And at least this way, if I want to, you know, take the trim off, I obviously could take the trim off, but who would want to? It's pretty, right? And because it's on the outside of this candle, it shouldn't pose as any type of a fire hazard. So, you know, always check, do your research. You know, we don't want anything close to the top of the candle, certainly, because that would be a fire hazard. So just always remember safety first, okay? I love y'all, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt or to lose anything, okay? Especially not when you're crafting. All right, now I'm going to cut off about 16 inches of ribbon here, maybe a little bit less. And I'm going to make some very simple little bows. You make the little awareness sign and then you squish it together, and that makes a pretty little bow. So here's the awareness sign. Okay. Then I'll take the back, squish it to the center where we crossed it over, and that gives us our bow. We're going to put this thin green ribbon right on top of that lacy ribbon. Then I'll take a piece of gold ribbon that I have. It's a little bit different in color than the gold lacy ribbon, but I think it's pretty anyway. And I'm going to tie it in the center. And then I'm going to, rather than cutting it off, I just decided to leave that in there, and I'm just going to trim it when I trim the rest of it. Cutting it at a slant. I'm not doing dovetails. I'm going to add some hot glue on the back. Not enough to squish out, but enough to hold it together. Now be sure that your Mod Podge is dry before you go on to doing anything else, because your ribbons will come off, so make sure the Mod Podge is dry. And then I'll just kind of work with the ribbon a little bit to have this one looking the way that we intend for it to look. Nice. Very pretty. Which one you like best? Hey, I want to say thank you to my channel members. I hope y'all are all getting your Christmas cards out to one another. This has been a wonderful year, and I am so happy to have you with me here. The next is going to be our sleigh arrangement. We're going to use another one of those little postcards, a different one. I have a scrap of paper. I'm going to use foam blocks. This beautiful sleigh that I found at the thrift store. Look at this beauty. I'm not even going to do anything with it other than clean it up a little bit on the inside. Double stick tape, a berry pick. We're going to cut it up. We're going to cut this one up, this one, and then the one on the bottom. These are 3 different types of evergreen that we're using. I'm going to start by deciding where I want my foam pieces to go. I know that it's going to take about 1 1/4 or 1 1/3 there. So I'm just going to cut those pieces to fit down on the inside. Y'all, I am working on getting out the rest of the boxes. Can you believe it? We ran out of prizes. My husband went and picked up some more things from Harbor Freight, and we are getting ready to get the rest of the boxes out to y'all. So if I've announced you as a winner and you haven't gotten it, it's coming. And I still have a couple of winners to announce, so I'll be drawing those and getting those out very soon. All right, double stick tape. We're going to put on the back of here. I don't know what size this is going to be yet, so I'm just going to eyeball it and see how much of a frame I want with this piece of scrapbook paper. This is just cardstock in the back. I'm going to push it down, then I'll use my little tool here, and I will go over it to make sure it's burnished down and it doesn't come apart. Perfect. Then I'm just going to take my little tool. I've had this thing for a while now. It's just a little pendulum cutter. It's good for little things, but it won't do big paper. You know, it's not big enough. I'm just going to trim it down. Now I've got my perfect size. I didn't have to use my scissors or ruler, and it's perfect. We're going to make a pick or sign to go in the beautiful arrangement display. So I'm going to use just a thin craft stick. I'm going to stick it down in some hot glue. I'm going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over here. And then I am going to add another little scrap of that same paper to give it a very nice clean finish on the back. So when you see it from the other side, it's nice and neat. How about that? Now we're going to start putting down all of that beautiful evergreen greenery. You can see what I'm doing here. This is how I'm going to arrange it. Now, arrange it, rather. If you don't have one of these, I think, unless your Dollar Tree is out, if you picked up any of those little plastic sleds from Dollar Tree, you could certainly paint your sled a white color, maybe do some painting on it, or make some designs with a glue gun and then brush over it with a little bit of gold, and you could make your own sled. But certainly if you have a sled in your decor that you haven't used in years, get that thing out, make something beautiful with it. I'm going to cut down all these pieces. I love that the greenery is giving those old vibes. It's given that beautiful woodland look that I love so much. And I think it matches a lot of what's going on in the card over there. And plus, you know, I just love greenery in general. I have went through so much greenery this year. So much. And after I use it, if I don't keep the arrangements or give them away, I pull them out and I donate them back because I get most of my greenery at the thrift store. So, I mean, turn around and give it back, and then somebody else will be excited about finding it. You know, nothing wrong with that. I've done all I could for it. It's time to go back. All right, so I'm just adding these here and there. I'm trying to mimic what I do on the left with what I do on the right. What I am doing in the front, I will keep a little bit shorter than what is going on in the back. This is going to be a squatty low arrangement. Nothing high in this, nothing like that. Squatty and low. I'll be showing you from here to, time to time here like I have been. I'll pick it up and let you see the shape of this arrangement. Very wild, very woodland, and I absolutely love it. You could use hollies. If you wanted to use some flowers, you could use some chrysanthemums in here. You could use poinsettias in here. Really whatever you like. So once I get it done on the top, you know, I start looking around the sides, and I'm going to be adding in some of the red berries on the sides as well. And what I have left is the middle top of that berry pick. And then I will use that to put down in that middle spot. You see the little empty spot there? I'm going to grab this. I'm going to give it a little bit of a fluff and place it right in that spot. How gorgeous. Look at the berries falling all over the table. You know I saved those berries, right? I sure did. I got a little bowl on the side and I stuck them all in there. So you see the style of this arrangement? Love it. It's beautiful. You put it in the middle of your table, everybody can see around it. So you could use this as decor anywhere in your house, but you could certainly use this as a centerpiece if you would like. Now here's that beautiful card. Oh yes. Santa, you're bringing me woodland vibes. You definitely are. All the woodland vibes. And Victorian. The next is going to be our Tart Pan Ornaments, of course. All right, y'all. I've got some, I'm going to drop it, obviously. An apple red satin Rust-Oleum spray paint. I'm going to use my awl and a hammer. I have some more of that wire. Some pearl beads or pearl rounds, little circles. And then I'm going to use some tart pans. A lot of you had told me in one of my tart pan ornaments that you had so many of these and didn't know what to do. I'm about to bring you some more inspiration. So we have 3 of each of these sizes and the red paint. We're going to take them outside and coat them down. Once they are dry, I'm going to get them lined up here. We will add some hot glue in the middle of the largest one. Set the medium size one in there. When we'll do each one of those right in there. Do y'all know what we're making? We're making poinsettias. Look at this. I found this by accident the other day. I get inspired by the weirdest things. I was stacking them up and something fell and it landed kind of one inside the other, and I thought, that looks like a flower. Can you see my fingerprint over there in the left? That's one that I got too much spray paint in and wouldn't dry all the way, so now it's on the tip of my finger. But paint all over my hands. Now, because the center of a beautiful Christmas poinsettia has the little, looks like little seated section, we're going to use pearls for that because this is Victorian, right? Yes. So I'm going to drop them in that well of hot glue because I put a good bit of hot glue in there because I want these to nest down in there flat, side by side. Look how pretty. And then I'll do the same thing with this one until it is nice and full. You can position them with your fingers, but I'm telling you, unless you're using cool temp glue, do not put your finger in that hot glue. Don't do it. It will hurt. Oh, I'm ordering myself one of those. It's a bowl, like a little pot that you put the glue pellets in for flower arrangements. So when I get it, I'll show y'all what that's like. Now, I don't have any leaves to work for a poinsettia, so I thought, you know what? I've got these thrifted pieces of holly leaves that got no berries with them, and I thought, why don't we just use our imagination and we're just going to put them together. They're both greenery for Christmas, so we're just going to put them together and we're going to make little green leaves to go on our beautiful flower ornaments. So I'm just going to stack one on top of the other. These are fragile. They're like a hard plastic and they break pretty easily, so I'm really trying to be careful how I handle them. I'm going to cut these in about probably 5 or 6 inch pieces, one for each of these flowers, because we are going to make hangers for these ornaments, of course. And you know how easy it is to make a hanger. We're going to make a little hook on the top of each one of these, leave it long on the bottom because we're going to be putting that in the ornament. Pretty. Very easy. You can always, if you don't have the wire, just use the ornament hooks that you buy at the store. You can get a big pack of those for very little, and you can probably get them at Dollar Tree. So I'll take my awl on the inside of one of those little scalloped areas, and then I have a board underneath so I don't make a hole in my table, and then I'll just go around it with my awl so I don't hurt my hand. Go through the hole, loop it back up, and then wrap it around itself. Careful not to poke your little fingers. You don't want to get a wire that is too stiff or you can hurt yourself, but you want something that's going to hold the weight of the ornament, so when you hang it on the tree, it doesn't pull the hook out of the top. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. So I wouldn't recommend that really thick wire that you get at Dollar Tree. The colored wires, I don't think that that would work. They're too soft. Now going by the other ornament, I'm trying to place this in about the same area, and putting it closer toward the front rather, is going to make it hang correctly so that it doesn't hang at a weird angle. You always need to be sure about that because the weight of things can change the center of it, right? So here's the last one, and we're getting it all wrapped up. And then once we know what's top and bottom, we can start adding our little leaves onto the ornaments. I ran out of glue in the other glue gun. How about that? I had to switch it over. Had two of them going at one time, and that's what I do with most of my projects. You'll see me go from the small one to the larger one, back and forth. So there's the first one. And then I'm going to put the greenery in different spots on each one of these ornaments. Just to, kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm going to hold it for a moment to let everything sit up and dry. And then on this one, we'll put it at the bottom. Look how pretty these are, y'all. Just for a little something extra, I thought let's add some sparkle in the middle. So rather than dumping glitter on here, I just want to add a little bit of a gold touch by putting some of this gold glitter Mod Podge on here. I'm brushing over all the pearls. I'm not getting it on the red at all. And then after I get each one of those little pearls done, we'll put just a tiny bit onto the leaves. I'm also focusing on any of those beads that flipped up where the hole is outward. I'm kind of plugging it with a little bit of this Mod Podge so you don't necessarily notice the bead. Then I'll take it right along the tips of the little spikes on the leaves, and then I'll go back and go right down the center with a very thin line of that gold glitter Mod Podge. You can see the little sparkle already on some of these. It's very pretty. You could use a gold foil if you wanted. That would be pretty too. And these are how these lovely little ornaments are going to look. I hope that y'all like these ornaments. I changed my display a little bit. It's kind of wrinkled, but the wrinkles will fall out gradually. But let's take a look at what we did today. Here's the beautiful surprise butterfly ornament with Santa. Very Victorian. Then we have our little trio here. I've just displayed them on a vine star. You can see the different positions of the leaves and the little touch of glitter. Here's that millwork that we did. So pretty. So expensive looking. It just, to me, it looks like metal. It definitely looks like a piece of metal. I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to everybody who supports me, whether you are a viewer, a subscriber, a member, whether you buy me a coffee, whether you buy my merch, whether you do any of the things that you do, liking, sharing, subscribing, talking about me with your family and friends, sharing my videos with family and friends, and people that you think would enjoy my content is so kind of you. And the thought that you take your precious time to come to my channel and check my videos twice a week. You check my videos out. It's awesome. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe and to hang out with us and check out all the unique budget-friendly DIYs that we do here on this channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications, and give me a thumbs up so I can keep up the kind of content that you like to see. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon. Bye.